Who's your sources here? Yeah. When footballers travel, like they put bouncers on the door at the hotel, so it'd be like packed all the time
and rocking.
Mate, when then Opa used to get the ball in the whole stadiums, and you can't get close to the ball, and literally I was like, I'm finished, like I can't play anymore. And I looked up at the clock and it was like 15 minutes into the game. My biggest regret is not like when I was at high school, because I was in the Pirates Academy where I was the only Mlungu. I think it's easier for us, like white guys. Like you don't even go to the gym, you don't even eat like whatever, you just eat like rice and whatever, and a guy takes off his shirt and he looks like Hercules, you're like, it's like, what is in your genes? But
what's going on here?
Genetically, like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
So, we laugh about it, thing they call it the white onslaught. I was like, you can't write that, like, you can't say that. They were like,
Boys, we back with another episode. I got Castro here. Castro, I see you got a guest, my boy.
Yeah, my man. You want to introduce him? You don't know him.
Yeah, of course, no, bro. I mean, this is Eminem, but just not the rapper.
please stand up.
At this moment. So listen to this for CV, bro. Former Orlando Pirates player, Bits, Super Sport, Maritzburg United, Amazulu. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Michael Morton. Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you very much, James. Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not a great night for you, but... Or maybe a drink.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a beer guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright. Where do you want to start? So...
I'm going to look at the setup and what we got going on here.
Well, we're hoping that we're going to finish all the beers. Good luck to you. It's going to be a long night. Castro, do you want to jump in, bro?
Yeah, no problem. My favorite part of the show was
Yeah.
the beginning, our beer review, basically. So yeah, basically how it goes is you pick a beer that is to your liking, and then we try it out and give it a rating.
Yeah, and then we'll start, and then we'll go through your career.
Okay.
So pick your poison as a starter.
I've got my own one, and this is obviously from being based in Cape Town. I see a Devil's Peak there in the corner there.
Oh yes, for sure.
So I think I'm eyeing out that guy.
And that's an ale, actually.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's an ale, so it should be good. Like a sweet, I don't know if you like sweet beers.
I'm a fan of IPA, so
Yeah.
I'm quite interested in that.
I'm interested to see how you're going to open it, actually.
I don't have any, you're telling me in a beer podcast we don't have a...
So usually we use a lighter or another beer.
Okay, well I don't have those skills that you...
Castro, can you help there, doggy?
I'm only able to do this, but not on someone's grammar.
Open the last one. The previous episode.
Oh, you're kidding me, bro?
I was hoping you guys had some like elbow or like...
Oh, no, we've got too soft for that. We're from the south.
I think the furthest we've gone is we've done the lighter, man.
Yeah, we've done the
You
lighter.
don't have the one in the back of the... What's this one in the teeth there as well?
No.
That also gives me a...
Oh,
Yeah, I can't do that.
I've seen a guy lose it too.
Yeah.
So since then I was like, nah.
So are we classy here or are we out the bottle?
In the glass, and then we'll keep rotating the beer.
Okay.
So we've given you the Champions League glass.
I feel like I deserve this thing.
Especially on a night like tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can go for it.
Okay, sure. Yeah. What are you guys drinking?
We're drinking the same thing.
We all
So
have a taster?
yeah,
Oh,
it's like a taste throughout the beers.
Oh, that
So
sounds beautiful.
hopefully we'll go a trip around the world. We've tried to get beers from around the world as much as possible. All right, bro. So you said you're from Joburg.
Yeah.
Like, where did you grow up?
Randburg, so the north of Johannesburg.
Yeah.
Went to Parktown Boys.
Oh, Parktown.
Yeah.
That's where my older brother goes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I was at Parktown Boys until grade 11, and then I matriculated at Crawford Stanton.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was at Orlando Pirates from the age of 12. So yeah, I was shuttling there after school every day. So yeah, I was in Joburg until age of 20 when I moved to Maritzburg for the first time out of Joburg.
You were 20 when you moved?
Yeah, so I spent the first year at Pirates. and I didn't really feature too much, and then that's when they sent me out to loan to Maritzburg, and that was the first time I left Joburg.
Okay, wait, rewind. Yeah. rewind just to step
Before you go
quick.
into that, before we go into your senior career, youth career, where were you at?
So starting off, I was started at Old Park to like a 5-year-old. Like my dad used to coach the team as they did.
Oh shit, so that does actually work.
Yeah, well, she's like, it was like all the buddies are there sitting on the side of the field, and so my dad was the one that was coaching us, and then I went from Old Park to Randburg, and then at 12 years old, I was playing provincial football, and the assistant coach was from Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, come through," and I was like, "Yeah, cool," and I went to Orlando Pirates at 12 years old, and I was there for 7 years.
Your story is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So coming into that, so when I was doing my D license, and obviously a couple of guys that being in and outside football basically knows what basically goes in, what happens there. So like there was some guys from that are coaching that are at Randburg AFC, and they were saying, okay, there was a period when Randburg was a feeder for Orlando Pirates.
There was something along those lines. I don't know if Palacios' Academy was running out of there or something along those lines, but that was after my time. But
That was after your time.
yeah, so we always used to train at Arthur Block Park in Mayfair.
Yeah.
But I do know there was an affiliation with Randburg at a point, but that was after my...
That was after your time.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe you went through that for...
Yeah, no. It was like, I literally, my mom used to drive me to Mayfair every day after school for like, 6-7 years. So I don't know how she did it, but it was, she used to sit down on the side of the football field every afternoon for 2-3 hours. Crazy, yeah.
No, 100%. So like, so I'm more interested in your youth. So I know a couple of guys that went to Parktown Boys.
Yeah.
And they were around during your time. And they said I must ask you, like, so apparently you were captain of your first team at 16, cricket, if I'm not mistaken.
Who's your sources? Yeah, that's true.
And with that being said, you were also a brilliant footballer, and apparently, like, there was quite a clash.
So the clash actually didn't come with the cricket, because the cricket was a different season. The clash came with at a school like Morton. They want you to play in the winter season. They want you to play rugby or water polo. And then I was like, I've got to play for Orlando Pirates, like on the weekend. And then, like, at that stage, they didn't understand anything about football. Like, they were like, "No, you got to play rugby." So I was like, I'd be playing like rugby on a Saturday morning, and then like bruised and battered, going and playing like soccer on a Sunday. It was interesting times, but it was like, I think maybe that toughened me up.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I hear that. So, I mean, Parktown's been in the news for...
Sometimes I don't tell people I went to Parktown.
So obviously they have this saying, maybe not everyone knows it, it says, you cry, you die.
Yeah, I think that we were even from the previous generation where there was like a lot of initiation and stuff like that. And I think Parktown was obviously in the news for a lot of that stuff. And I've experienced a lot of that stuff firsthand. So times have changed. But I think it happened at most boys' schools, but I think Parktown just, it obviously got to the media and they were...
Yeah. There's always a snitch.
Yeah.
There's always a snitch.
It was happening, like, to be honest, I know for a fact it was happening everywhere else as well, but obviously Parktown was the first guys to get really exposed in the media and whatever. I think there was even a Carte Blanche episode as well. Like, I remember like our head boy crying on Carte Blanche. So we got
a Sunday evening.
Man. It's already ruining your weekend with Carte Blanche, and but it's like
So now, with that being said, the whole Parktown being infamous for what it's infamous for, and the whole you having to play rugby thing, why did you leave Parktown?
It was tough, so it got to a point in grade 11, grade 12, where it did come to a point where it's like, I've got to decide now, am I going to play cricket? Because I was playing cricket at a decent level, I was playing like provincial cricket and everything, and I was like, which direction am I going to go? And it really started to clash at a point where the school was now saying like, what's the story? Are you going to play rugby? Or are you going to do whatever? And I was like, at this point I was playing like junior national team football and stuff, and they still were like, oh, you got to play rugby. I was like, it's now at a point where can actually be a potential career. So my mother's a school teacher, and she was actually teaching at Crawford Santon in the prep school, so it was like a natural thing that like Crawford was much more relaxed in terms of like they actually don't really care too much about the sports side of things. So it was just an easier way for me to matriculate there and then still be able to push the soccer side of things.
Yeah. So now, so did Poptown have like soccer as a sport during your time?
Not then. It was like right towards the back end, I'd say, like, almost as I was leaving. They would always give you like the third term, which is like the athletics term. It was like the shortest term of the year. They'd be like, oh, you guys can play like a little bit of soccer, but it was like, but I'm happy to see it. It looks like high schools are starting to push it now.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see, but at like that time there was very, very little exposure to football at those schools, man.
So, the conversation that you had with your parents, right? When you realized that football is actually a possible career. How did that go? How did that conversation?
Well, I think it actually came from Pirates. So Palacios Augusto, he was like from the time I was like 16, was like, you're going to be a professional footballer basically. And he was always like, you've got to decide. So like, I've got to give credit to him. He was the one who sort of pushed me early on and sort of let me know that this was not just like, this is a career now and you got to make a call because, like, I understand not specializing when you're like 13, 14 years old. Like I think you should play all sports until you like probably 15, 16. But like when you get to that point, I mean, this guy's in the Premier League playing at 17 years old.
Yeah.
So when you're like 17 or 18, you're still like playing cricket, rugby, soccer. It's like maybe at some point you got to decide, okay, this is the direction I'm going in. Likely think I chose the right one.
Yeah. And then did your parents support it? Or
my mom would have supported whatever I did.
Yeah.
Like, she sat on the side of a soccer. I think like, look, I love football more than cricket. I mean, I think looking back now, I regret like those long Saturdays, 7 till 5 every day on a cricket field. Like maybe we'd gone to play for the Proteas, like it would have been worth it. But like I look back now, I'm thinking those water polo guys that are coming in for like a 60-minute game, and now they're getting sunburned from 8 until fucking 5 in there. I regret those times on a football on a cricket field. So maybe I should have decided a little bit earlier.
Very nice, very nice. And now going into your senior career, I mean, London Pirates is a very, very big club.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, before that, you're playing development basically.
Yeah.
So now, what is that like? I'm sure it's like a different type of pressure.
Yeah, it was crazy how it happened actually, because I was just training with the first team. Like they used to always send up like a couple of the more promising academy kids to train with the first team. And Owen DeGarmo was the coach at the time. But then, so I was just training with him at that stage. But then they fired him, I think. And at that point, Ruud Krol came in.
Oh, snap! I remember that, uncle.
It actually benefited me that I think he came in, he didn't actually know anyone in the squad.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know South African football really. So I come in at like the end of my season with the academy.
Yeah.
So I was like fit as a fiddle.
Yeah.
And everyone else, like all the other guys were coming back from like off season.
Yeah.
So they were all like, so like in pre-season I looked like a boss. I was like,
you're bossing that midfield.
I looked like a machine. I was super fit, and all those other guys were like just coming back from holiday. So I was like, I don't know if you looked at me and was like, oh, what a like. So like straight away, like as you arrived, then we had like obviously the Vodacom challenge and the Telkom charity always in pre-season.
I remember that conversation.
So like I remember like just like out of the blue, I'd just been training with the first team. They were just like, okay, we're going to play the Telkom charity. Like then they put my name there. I was like, okay, cool. I'm definitely not going to play. Like go to the game.
Yeah.
Then he's like, yo, you're starting. I was like, what? Really? He's like, this is a Soweto derby, like.
Yeah.
Go. And I was like, I don't think you realize I was not even like part of this. I didn't have a contract. I didn't have anything. I was just like training with him.
Were you nervous?
Mate, like it was a joke. Like I was crazy. And that's marked like Shabba. I was playing like and he played me right back. I never played right back in my life.
Yeah.
I played right back against like Bafan's left wing.
I'm sure he was making you run,
Yeah, it's like against, and then like 50,000 people watching. So the game, like came back, I was lucky. Like I was so fit. And then like everyone else is like, you never that sharp when you come back in. Like the Telkom charity was never great quality because everyone's like pre-season stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was like, I was flying. So I think I made a good first impression.
Yeah.
Thrown in the deep end early on.
And then do you remember the atmosphere at the stadium?
Yeah,
how was it?
It was mad. Because obviously the Telkom charity wasn't just like Pirates and Chiefs fans.
No, for sure.
It was also like, because it was like at that stage, I think it was Celtic and Sundowns.
Which stadium was it? Was it Bloemfontein?
It was that funny, I don't even think they play there anymore. Might even they're one with the funny like it's got the funny angled.
I think I may have been.
They show like photos of it now. It's like
in my hometown.
yeah, it's Mafeking, bro.
Yeah, Mafeking Stadium. It's a stadium.
That's the one that's like run down now.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's got those funny like stands at the top.
For sure. It looks like plates, literally on top of each other.
Yeah.
I think I may have been there, bro.
Yeah.
I was a little boy.
Well, so was I. Yeah.
All right. But then, can we like reverse it just a step or two, right? Because we are in rugby season. The Springboks are in the semi-finals, right? Yeah. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine. His name is Andy, right? And he's a big rugby guy. And he was telling me the problem with South African football is the development side. So, and then he did like a comparison. He said from a rugby perspective, they leave the children to go through the ranks, through the schooling system. So you go through the high school rugby, a varsity cup, and then you go into your Lions, your Sharks, and then the Springboks, right? Whereas with the soccer, you go in at a Pirates or Chiefs when you're young, when you're 14, 13, and the responsibility is on the club, and the club is going to neglect you from a development perspective compared to the high school system, where it's step by step and it's nurtured throughout the process. Do you think that's a fair comparison, or?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't even know if the Pirates and Chiefs still have academies. I don't know if...
I heard something, I heard that also during my course.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like it's not, as far as I know, it's not functioning the way it was functioning when I was younger. So like, I mean, it often comes to like, parents will come to me and they'll be like, my son's a talented footballer, like what should he do? And,
yeah, exactly.
And I actually don't have an answer.
It's that bad.
No, it's because like, you can't go club football anymore. I don't think like, even when we were playing club football as kids, like, the level was okay, but it wasn't great. There was like SAFA leagues and Rand Central and whatever, and like the quality was okay. But we were playing, so like Pirates Academy we play against, Chiefs Academy we play against, like I was playing against like Opa Manisa, George Maluleka. That was like a club level football, like. But I don't think this is that competitive now. So I don't know where these kids are getting like competitive football and growing as footballers. Like obviously you're seeing all these like Brazilian soccer schools and super sports soccer schools, and it's a cool concept, but like they're playing on like small little astro pitches and stuff. Like,
I think the competition is not really there.
Yeah, it's like it's more focused on skills and whatever. But like, are they playing competitive matches on the weekend? I mean, I don't even know what the provincial setup's like. Like, I'm so out of touch with that. So I could be completely wrong, but as far as I know, I don't know what the avenue is for a young talented kid to get into the professional ranks now.
That is actually quite wild.
Yeah, maybe someone. I mean, you work in the development space now. I don't know, man. Like, especially in Joburg, I'm out of touch with what you would do as a parent if you had a talented footballer.
That's actually scary.
No, it's very scary.
It's always difficult in this country. Like, there's so many avenues in trying to get into the PSL. I don't think there's like a proper structure. Like, you know, like in England, like you can actually be an academy player and just work your way up.
For sure.
And something like that. But in this country, you can work your way through the ranks and they'll literally give you a DDC.
See, that is the one difference now. I think that's also DDC. I think is massively beneficial. Like we didn't have that step.
Yeah.
For us, it was like academy, first team. Like there wasn't that. I think DDC provides that next step between the two.
What's DDC?
Multi-choice, Disky.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously DSC took over, it's now DDC.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah. So that's like for me now the bridge between academy football and then the first team, which I think is incredible, and it's all televised. So these guys are all getting spotted and whatever. It's amazing, and there's obviously varsity cup football as well.
Yeah,
so that's already when you're 18, 19. I'm worried more about what's happening at 12, 13, 14. Like what are those kids doing?
Exactly my point. But guys, we're not reviewing the beer. How was that ale? Did you give it a taste?
A sip. I've been talking to man.
Taste, what would you rate it out of 10?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
Yeah. But too dry for me.
Okay.
Impression.
And then the sweetness? Because for me, for beer, it's quite sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah, it's that craft.
Crafty tasting beer.
Like it's one of those where you'd have one of them or like one of those tasting plates. You'd have like one or two, but you're not going to drink this the whole night.
No, for sure, for sure.
Definitely. It's nice. Like it's nice that we've shared it. Like after
you don't want to see it again after this. Okay, so then you had Pirates, right? And then you want to leave to further progress your career, obviously. How was your conversation with the Duke? That hectic.
Like for me, it's probably the most intimidating human being I've ever met in my life.
I agree with you.
No, like
I agree with you.
Yeah, you sit in a room with him, and I've seen like grown men like around a boardroom table like
crumbling.
Just like the man demand, like the whole room just like gravitates around him. Like
he's got an aura.
Like an aura, man.
Yeah.
No, he's powerful. So yeah, that conversation is not easy. But obviously, yeah.
Did you book it into his
I was on loan for 2 years, so it wasn't like the first season I didn't really play, but that season we won, like Pirates basically won a treble.
Yeah.
So it's like when we go to his coach saying like I want to play, it's like we're winning everything. Yeah, so like I fully understood. Maybe I didn't fully understand. I wanted to play, but I obviously saw the situation, so I realized I needed to go out, and that's when I went on loan to Bits. And I did that for 2 years, and then it was after the 2 years that I came back, and I'd done pretty well, and I thought maybe that's my chance, but then they were interested in Rudolf Bester from Maritzburg.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so there was a swap deal there, and that's how I actually exited Pirates. So
how does a swap deal work? Do they tell you that, listen, we're going to flog you off to that club, and then you're going to bring someone else, or is it like...
Yeah, look, I think obviously he was quite hot at the time, and I'd had a decent season, but so I carried some sort of value, so they obviously saw it as a way to maneuver some chess pieces around or whatever. So he called me personally and said, look, we're gonna... So like, I don't think a lot of guys get that. Like, he obviously knew I'd spent 7 years there or whatever, and they basically turned me into a professional footballer. So I was very grateful. I obviously would have loved to have turned into a professional footballer at Orlando Pirates and had a successful career there, but it didn't work out that way. But then, like it's always the case, like in hindsight, looked like the best thing that could have happened for my career.
For sure. And then at Pirates, right? When you walked into that training session, who was the guy that you were like, wow?
Tico.
Right?
Oh.
Right? That guy plays like he's possessed, bro.
No, that generation was scary. Like it was, probably Tico. But there were big personalities in that dressing room. That was the Senzo, Munib,
big names.
Lucky, Lehwati, like
the captain.
Yeah, I used to carry like his basket to over the kids and stuff.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. Like the respect I had for those guys, massive. Like no, still when I see that now, like Benson was there as well.
Yeah.
No, that dressing room was like there was really top professionals, and but Teko was always like. You used to watch we used to passing drills, and it used to be like when he hits the ball, you just like the sound that came off his foot, you're like,
so
next level.
Okay, cool. So like we always have this ongoing debate about current generation versus previous generation. So old school versus new school. Who do you think wins? Old school Pirates with Deco and the boys versus new school Pirates?
Plus, you're on both sides of the fence, actually. Come to think about it.
Yeah, I've experienced both.
Guys, here's our next beer. Catch up if you can.
Oh, yes. So when I left Pirates early on, and I was playing at Wits and playing against that next generation of Pirates, which was the Jali Opa, like that for me was like some of the toughest games.
Yeah.
The stadium used to also be like packed all the time.
And rocking.
Mate, when then Opa used to get the ball in the whole stadiums, and you can't get close to the ball, and literally you couldn't like I felt at the game at Orlando Stadium tonight, it wasn't as crazy, but like literally like you would be this close to someone, you couldn't hear each other.
Jeez.
And then they used to do that thing where they used to jump.
Yes.
And then it was like the whole stadium would vibrate, especially when
you serious?
They got to like pass the ball around and they're dominating. And like this, like I still remember there was a game where we played against him, And I was like, I'm finished. Like, I can't play anymore. And I looked up at the clock and it was like 15 minutes into the game. And I don't think I touched the ball, and I just like chased and no, man, that was tough. Eh? That was a tough generation. So that next generation that I actually played against, that was tough. Like, probably the hardest Pirates team I played against.
Sure. So then, who would you say are your top 3 toughest opponents to have played?
In the midfield?
Yeah, midfield.
Shompo was the...
Kikana.
Yeah. And then there's one that not a lot of people mention, but for me was Doc Marubanya.
Did I see him? I can't recall.
So he played at Supersport, played at Bloem Celtic.
Yeah.
He was a typical Gavin Hunt player, like big physical guy, but like quick, like an athlete as well. So there was a stage in Supersport where Shompo was playing with Doc Marubanya in the middle, and that was like two absolute, just beasts. Yeah, so they were tough. And then
third player.
Well, I've mentioned Tekba when he was at Cape Town City, he was tough, but then Surprise Morelli was another one.
He's so underrated, eh?
Yeah, man, him and Jabu Maluleka were. So obviously Shompo and Marubanya were like direct competition to me, like in terms of like holding midfielders, like aggressive, like. But the number 10s that would play around me, like Surprise Morelli and Jabu Maluleka, like you turn your head this way and you can see him, and then you look to the ball again, you look for him again, and he's gone. It's like, and then his first touch and turn, and they were.
And how was it playing against Yeye? Because for me, he's like one of the best midfielders.
Yeah, I played with Yeye at Supersport as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when Baxter came, I was actually a midfield 3, so Dean Furman sat as the number 6.
Oh, what a player.
Yeah, and then Yeye and I played as 2 8s. Yeye played on the left and I played on the right.
Cheers.
So like, incredible. Like, I love playing there. Yeah, it was a beast there.
Alright, the Cats, you wanna jump in and anytime?
Yeah, I was listening, man. I'm just a big guy. So like,
sorry. This is a beer from
Mozambique.
Cheers.
Yeah, I know this.
This must be like our favorite beer on the show.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best.
your favorite for who?
Oh, sorry. For me and Goose. Okay, fair. For me and Goose.
Yeah. Goose was some guy that didn't have much football.
Just provided that
It's very funny. So yeah. So you mentioned all the clubs except this current club, which is Cape Town Spurs.
Well, naturally.
Whatever. Anyways, so you're the captain, if I'm not mistaken.
When Clayton's not playing. Yeah.
And you did say earlier. Yeah, you did say.
I looked at the team and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's surely between Clayton and Morton, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, literally. So, obviously, like, football in this country is played by predominantly, well, obviously at the highest level, blacks and stuff. So, as the captain, you're cool.
Well, I understand to a certain, but my biggest regret is not like when I was at high school, because I was in the Pirates Academy where I was the only Mlungu. Like if I just taken Zulu instead of Afrikaans, I know for a fact I would have picked it up so quick.
For sure.
But now, like, I obviously didn't get the basic thing, so now, like, when guys are having I get a general understanding of what's going on, but I don't fully understand. I definitely can't talk. And so a regret of mine. Like, I wish I had invested more time in learning.
But now you played at Maritzburg United and Amazon.
Yeah,
it's in my heart. Okay, so how was it?
I loved it. Like, I'm singing all the songs. So, I was in it, but like, I didn't really pick up the language. It's a big regret of mine. Yeah, but I loved, KZN was brilliant.
So, when it comes to jersey numbers, right? How does that work? Especially from a traditional big team compared to a traditional small team, right? So, does the big dog in the club decide which jersey number he's getting, or is it assigned by the coach, or like, do you guys have a conversation amongst each other, like, hey dog, you are the best, you wear chase number 10.
Yeah.
It's not even a conversation.
Yeah, I feel like look, I've never been in that conversation really, because like I've been so like free, like I've never been attached to a number. But really? I think, no, not really. I loved Steven Gerrard, so I always wanted to wear number 8. Not once in my career never once in my career did I wear number 8. It's like wherever I went, there was always somebody who was wearing the number 8.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was just something I never got. So then it was like, it's like I'm a holding midfielder. Sometimes I got 6, sometimes I got 4, sometimes. Yeah, so it's just like jumped around. But like some guys are attached to numbers.
For sure.
So like when they come in, I think already they've got the kit man on the line. Is this 10 available? Is this 7 available? Whatever. Like, but yeah, it's never been a big thing for me.
And then you went to Amazulu first, or is it Maritzburg?
I went to Maritzburg first from Wits.
Yeah.
And I got that swap deal with Vesta, and I went to Maritzburg for 3 years.
And how was it there? You were also captain there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, not initially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was for 3 years. So when I first arrived there, like obviously I didn't really know what was going to happen there. Ian Palmer was the coach. Like that first season was actually incredible. We started like the first 8 games were undefeated. We were like second in the league. We were flying.
Mm-hmm.
And then Supersport beat us 7-0, and that was like the end of our run. And then we just sort of faded out. But yeah, it was 3 good years at Maritzburg, and then I did end up captaining the club, and that's probably where I grew the most. Under Middendorp came there.
Yeah,
he's probably the guy that had one of the biggest impacts on my career in terms of like learning and like sort of becoming the footballer I became was probably through Middendorp.
Speaking of becoming a footballer, right? Who did you base your game on? Who was your inspiration?
I always say Steven Gerrard, but like I never had like that attacking side of my game. Like I've hardly scored goals in my career, and like there would be coaches sometimes who would be like to me like, Mark, just don't cross the halfway line, just like do the hard work, do the thing, sit in front of the back four, whatever. So I always love to say like that I love Steven Gerrard, but I maybe lacked that finesse and that sort of final finishing touch or whatever in the attacking third. So it probably ended up being more like a Mascherano or like a more like old school number 6, like a Makalele or something. Someone who just sort of like get amongst it and had a more holding midfielder. Then I love Steven Gerrard, but I was not the complete midfielder.
And the most difficult player you played against?
Yeah, in terms of marking and stuff, it was always like surprise. Jabu Maluleka, Tico. Yeah, those
Jabu Maluleka, you really rate that guy, eh?
Ask anyone who played in the midfield in South Africa who played against Jabu, like they will tell you he's a massive problem. Like so good.
Is he like smart on the ball, or is it the off the ball?
And clever, skillful, like, and you can't give a free kick away around your box because you know he's like free kicks his next level. Like, no, it was good, man, so good. But there was a couple like Lerato Shabango was also tough to mark. Yeah, DVD Matibula was that Swallows team that Gordon had at the stage.
Yeah,
it was DVD and
Gordon
Matibula, it was Chabangu, it was Novete on the side. Like that team almost won the league, man. Sundowns pipped them on the last day. Yeah, that was a tough team as well. So,
and actually, speaking of, right, like I saw one video that you put up on TikTok, I think it is, right? And you're speaking about one of the most iconic stadiums in South Africa, in Bloemfontein, Cesar Mabudu, right? So for you personally as a player, give me your top 3 stadiums that you've played in, and why actually?
So the first will always be Soccer City. So when I was at Wits, I actually played in the first game ever at Soccer City because we made the Nedbank Cup final.
Oh yes.
It was probably the worst final. Nobody wanted that final. It was Wits against Amazulu. So in the Nedbank Cup final, and it was the opening game of Soccer City just before the 2010 World Cup. So it was like I was 19 at the time, and it was like 80,000 people, and
playing in the final.
Yeah, and we won it as well. So it was like, and I won man of the match. So it was like, my claim to fame is like the first ever man of the match at Soccer City. So that'll always be like, tick, we won the trophy. So that one's like always will be special to me.
Yeah.
And it was like 80,000 people. It was mad. Like we had to delay the kickoff by like half an hour because not everyone could get there on time, but people that underestimated like how busy it was going to be. Like Mick, Jay-Z, Jacob Zuma had to shake hands. Like,
are you serious?
I was mad, bro. It was like
that's wild.
Yeah, I was mad, bro. So that Soccer City is one of my favorites. Cesar was the old one. Like, the new one, like it's lost a bit of its spirit. It's a little bit smaller.
I think it's because of that racetrack.
Yeah, but
because you're a bit further back.
Those old school like stands, like, and then I just remember like in the middle of the game, like it was a night game, and I'm like looking there, like they had the one section there was like kids on the one side,
Yeah.
and they were like teaching the kids on the one side like the songs and how whatever.
During the game.
Yeah, like before the game, whatever,
Yeah.
like they had like a kids section. I was like, I've never seen this before. Then I was like in the middle of the game, I'm busy playing, and I'm watching these fans like doing that one where they come together.
Oh, yes,
Like, this is like, it was one of the most incredible things. Like felt like time stood still, and I was like, the sound. And then you used to beat them,
Yeah.
and then the fans would sing for you.
Wow.
It's
That's
like, I've never
crazy.
seen another club that does that. Like, they would, like if you played good football in Bloemfontein,
Yeah.
like, the fans would love you. Like,
I've actually seen that with Chiefs.
yeah,
I've
like,
seen that happen.
you can go like after the game, you do well, and then they'll like,
Cheer you on now.
yeah. No, but I saw some funny things there. Like there was one game we played there, we played against Celtic, and at this stage I don't know what they were unhappy with the team or whatever, but they like, so they weren't playing well.
Yeah.
So they sort of like, they pretended like they said like, come singing for the team, come closer. As they got closer, then they started like
Belting them.
yeah.
Oh,
So they were like singing for it, closer. When the team got close enough, then they started to play.
They lured them into the trap.
that was mad. Man. No, but that was the. So
And then your third one?
bro, in terms of vibe and sound and whatever, Orlando Stadium's.
Orlando.
Yeah, it's like compact. It's right on. The fans feel like they're right on top of the pitch.
Yeah. And it feels like a small pitch.
Yeah,
Well,
and-
it looks like a small
And I think back to those like Jali Opa days, and when the crowd was like jumping in the stadium, and the whole thing was vibrating and stuff. The vibe was next
Crazy.
level. Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of vibes, what age did you go pro?
19.
At 19. So what did you,
So wow.
so what did you do with your first chain?
I thought, oh man.
It sounds like you blew through it.
Yeah. Sherman, what did I do in my first check? Actually, so I moved out of the house quite early. So it's like the first thing I did was like was buy a place.
You needed that room and comfort.
Yeah. I didn't move far. Like I bought like maybe like a kilometer down the road from my mom, so she could still do my washing and still like I still go home for dinner every night. It's like just enough space, but
Yeah.
like I'd still be like, Mom, like what's for dinner, and then like still be there. But like, yeah, probably the first thing I did was like try to move out of the house.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Like, sheesh. So now, like, obviously now you're exposed to all this publicity. You know, people now know you because they've seen you on TV, and obviously you see someone on TV, you just think like, wow,
Yeah.
this guy's probably like a millionaire. Like,
And it's unreal
It's
seeing
like
it.
his debut game, like this guy's probably a millionaire. He can do this. He's shaking hands with all these people, whatever. How do you deal with all that publicity?
I think it's easier for us, like white guys.
Yeah.
Like when I go to, I don't know, Santon City, Cressida, nobody knows who I am.
Ain't no
So-
way, bro.
I'm like, okay, like some guy, like the odd guy.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think about like, wherever, Teko, like must go like home to Soweto.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there's an expectation there as well. It's like, they know, like for me, I feel like, you know, the white community, they don't watch South African football really. So like,
Why is that though?
I don't know, man. Like, it'll always be like whenever I say to them, they'll be like, "What do you do for a living?" I'll be like, "No, I play soccer." They'll be like, "Oh, that's cool." Like,
Just slightly brush it off.
I'll be like, "Well, fine." I was like, "No, I do it for a living." He's like, "Oh, okay." Oh, sorry, I don't really watch South African football.
Yeah,
Like, okay. Yeah, it's like no, it's for me, it's when I go home and like in my suburb or whatever.
Yeah.
No one knows who I am, and I think it's actually better for the better.
Yeah, for sure.
The other guys, like, I think there's always that pressure, like, what car are you driving? Like, oh, you're a PSL footballer, how can you be like you?
Because there's this expectation.
Yeah, it's like, you should be driving a nice car, you should be wearing nice clothes or whatever. It's like, no one cares when I walk in the mall in my like flip-flops and shorts, like, no
It's
one
peace of mind,
No one knows who I am, like,
Yeah.
so it's like, I don't know, I feel like we have it easier. Like, I can imagine the guys that live in the township or whatever, or that still go back there, like,
All that pressure.
the expectation, like, well, like the round of drinks, like who's the round of drinks on?
Something as simple as that.
Yeah, no, it's like I can imagine every time we go out, like who's paying for things, like No, the PSL.
But then here's the question, right? Do they like put you through training in terms of your finances, and do they like talk to you guys like, listen, guys, we know that this is a large amount of money, especially when you're young. So like, do they take you through like a finance course or something of the sort to keep you level-minded?
Nothing.
So you sign that big check and it's like off you go.
Yeah, unless it's changed now, but there was never. Yeah, I've never known for there to be any sort of like guidance, and then I don't know if it's the agents or maybe advising the guys now or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know of any sort of guidance that these guys are getting, and I think it's a problem. But at the same time, like I've tried to have discussions with guys as well, because like I'd like to think I've made some like decent financial decisions, but you also get the feeling like sort of like they don't want to know. It's like it's my money, like I'll do with it like as I please. And sometimes like I feel like some guys, maybe it's not a bad idea that they learn the hard lesson early, and then they sort of like think, and then they realize. But sometimes like if you make those and then you can't recover, like there's some guys that have made very bad decisions or bad business decisions or done crazy things with their money, and there's no coming back.
So like speaking of, right, do you know what you're going to do after football? Like, is there a plan in place? Because it seems like you're going the digital route. Is that something that's viable long term for you, or like a passion for you, just like football?
The thing with me is like football, from probably the time I was like 24, 25, I always knew this was a short career. Like I've probably made it longer than most.
It's a long career.
Yeah, so I've turned it into like a ninja. But like from the age of 24, I was like always thinking like, it could be done like this year. It's like, what am I going to do if it ends at the end of this year? So I was always doing so. Like I studied, like I got a BCom, and then I became like a personal trainer, and then I became a nutritionist. And I was always just like when I leave this job, like, am I employable? Because I was like, I was always so, because like I'm just thinking like,
sound like a sound man.
No, but imagine like, so you think most people like, if you're an employer, what would you do if a footballer came out of thing and he came to you with his CV and said, here, I'm applying for a job, I'm 35, and you say what work experience do you have? No, I played football.
Sorry.
Okay, well, do you know about sales? Do you know about marketing? Do you know about like working in a corporate, like, it's like you're actually the most unemployable person in the world, unless you're going to go into football. It's like, what like work experience do you have? It's like, it's scary, man. So like, I've always thought about that. So like, I've always been like side hustling and like doing other things all the time. Because I've always just been like, there's so much time. We train from 9 till 12, what I do in the afternoons. Like, I just was always like, what's next?
So like speaking about your legacy, right? As a footballer, are you a bit concerned with the whole system of clubs being sold into the PSL? Like for example, on your CV, you've got Bidvest Fit, right? Now it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like, does that personally hit you? And like, what do you think of that whole situation where clubs buy their position into the PSL?
I don't like it. I mean, I think like when my kids are of the age when they understand, they'll be like, who did you play for?
Exactly.
I played for Wits. That doesn't mean. What are you talking about? Like,
what's that?
That's a university. That's not a football club.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like. I mean, how do we let Bidvest Wits disappear? It's like, how do we let
Celtics come on?
That hurts, man.
Yeah.
And I think like it's the people. How do you buy a team and move it out of like its location where you have a fan base?
Exactly. And for me, that's why I feel like the numbers have fallen in the stadiums, because now there's not that following. I mean, you're going to see a Royal AM, right? Let's be fair, it's a fairly new club. But had it been a Bloemfontein Celtic versus Pirates, you fill up that stadium in a blink.
For sure.
And for me, that kills the sport, especially being considered top 5 in the whole continent.
Yeah.
But then if you look at the stands, they're a bit empty. So how do we fix that problem?
Man. Yeah, it's a mess. I feel like it's a whole conversation in itself.
Yeah.
I don't know how you fix that, because as long as that's on the table, like, how do you build a proper fan base when you can literally, like, this club gets sold and then, sorry guys, like, your club doesn't exist anymore. It's now in another province. It's now under another name. It's like you're looking at other clubs all over the world, like 100 years old, 120 years old.
Exactly my thing.
It's like I look at Orlando Pirates, like that's established in 1937. Like it's about to turn like, what's 90 years old.
Yeah.
And then we've got clubs that are like 2 years old. It's like,
And you're playing at F&B.
Yeah, no, I don't know how you fix that. But as long as people are willing to pay 50, 60 million rand for PSL status, then the clubs will sell, if that's allowed to happen. Because it's like I don't see it like football as a very sustainable business model. But the one business model I do see that makes sense is to get an NFT status, buy for 10 million rand, get it promoted and sell it for 50 million rand.
Yeah.
Like, if you're actually looking to make money in football, I think that's a valid way to make money in football, because I don't think any other way is actually, a lot of the time I think you actually just burn through money.
No, for sure.
Being a club owner in South Africa, unless you're like Chiefs and Pirates, where you have a market, like you actually sell millions of jerseys a season. I mean, like even a decent sized club like Amazulu, I don't know how many jerseys you sell a season.
But if you like walk around KZN, you see quite a lot of them here.
You do?
Yeah. Those guys support the.
Yeah, you do. Look, KZN, you probably have more diehard supporters than you do in most places, but still, the guys are paying 60 rand a ticket. Like when I look at it, I think like most teams lose money on a home game.
Jeez.
If you had to think about like what is the average attendance of a home game in the PSL, take the Chiefs and Pirates away from that.
It's less than 10,000 for sure.
So 10,000 times $60.
That's peanuts.
And I just think you got to turn on the lights, you got to get security, you got to get hotels for your team, you got to get like
these
food, whatever. Bro, like literally, I think like home games don't make like teams money unless they're playing against Chiefs and Pirates.
So then here's a question, right? Especially from a South African perspective, right? Champions League. Why do we perform so badly outside of Sundowns? Is it a travel cost thing, or is it that we don't have enough passion, or it's like a thing of Champions League is like an afterthought? Because I remember when Pito came in, he made it a thing.
Yeah.
Like, we must win the Champions League.
I think there's a big difference between CAF, the second guy, and then the Champions League.
Yeah.
Because the Champions League, like, there's legit like big money to be made, whereas like I don't know, what do you call that? The CAF Confederation.
Yeah.
So that's like with Super Sport, we went to the final of that thing. Only if you win it is it actually profitable. If you get you can, and it takes longer. Like you got to do like group stages, and the group stages go through your off season.
Yeah.
It's like takes ages, and you're just burning through money. And if you don't get to like the semi-finals or the final, you lose money. Look, I love traveling in Africa because it's like eye-opening, and I think it's like you need to see that to like realize how fortunate we are in South Africa. Because like,
is it that vast difference?
Mate, I think Liberia must be one of the poorest nations in the world. Like you literally, when you leave the airport, like you're seeing people like there's no running water, like they're literally pumping water out of wells and stuff. So I think like especially for a lot of the young kids like who have not traveled, like it's actually essential to realize like how bad it can get. Because you realize like why West Africans and some folks from these African countries, why they come to South Africa and they're like, we'll do anything to work and to get it. And they're so desperate to succeed because they know that if they don't make it here, like they're going back to that.
Yeah, for sure. So and that's not an option.
Yeah, no, man, like there's crazy conditions. So it's tough to go get results there.
Yeah.
It's like they might not be the best football team sometimes, but to get results against them, traveling considered and all that sort of stuff.
But then you're a big guy, right? And in North Africa, those boys are quite big.
Yeah.
How is it playing against them? Are they very tough on the ball? Do they bully you guys on the ball?
We never played too many North African opponents. Like, I don't think I had too many like Algeria, Egypt, any of those. We did more like West Africa. I don't know, it was just the way the draw worked with us. Super Sport.
And how were those players?
Yeah. Strong, man. Like big guys. Like it's just like they're just different build, man. I mean, you look at some of those guys and you look at their diets and you'll be like, you don't even go to the gym, you don't even eat like whatever, just eat like the rice and whatever, and a guy takes off his shirt and he looks like Hercules, you're like, it's like, what is in your genes, but
what's going on here?
Genetically, like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Some folks like take steroids their whole life, they never get to that level, like this guy's just like,
Naturally.
like, you know, they're just, I don't know what it is, man. They're just like naturally born gifted athletes.
And then as a player, right? Did you have any like dreams to go overseas, and which club exactly?
Yeah, I wanted to go. I'd love to have gone to like England and Liverpool and whatever. That was always a dream.
Yeah.
At 19, I went to Norway on trial and sort of tried my luck there or whatever. But I think like the type of player I am is like the average player in Europe. Like the defensive midfielder and like, I think when they come into Africa or they come to South Africa, they're looking for skillful wingers, more like...
Play.
Yeah, I think like more technically gifted players. If you look at the majority of our players who went over, Steven, Quinton Fortune, like Benny, even Laufos, so most of our attacking players, like Radebe was probably one of the few that went over and did really well. It's like majority of it is like attacking. It's like when they go to like, why would they come to South Africa for like a defensive midfielder, holding midfielder where they could get probably something quite similar there. So I was like...
But you fit the spec though.
Yeah,
I mean, you're a big guy.
Yeah, it's like when I played with Dean and he was always like, oh man, I would have loved you in England.
Exactly my point. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but that's also with the work permit issues. Like, it's not that attractive to clubs because they know that the loopholes they have to jump through to get South Africans work permits and everything. It doesn't help that we are ranked so low in the world. You have to be in like there's a whole bunch of like loopholes you got to jump through, but your country has to be in the top ranked in the top 50 in the world.
Oh, so there's a lot of red tape.
Yeah, you have to have played for like the national team for like 50% of the games over a course of 2 years. Your team has to be in the top 50 in the world, and that's like...
It sounds like gatekeeping.
Yeah, so you have to like but those are the like in order to justify you adding value to the league, because otherwise, like I think there's a lot of like we could just like whip anyone out of Africa or whatever, and it's like they need to justify that like we bring in this guy, he's going to be earning this amount of money, and so it's like they do make it really difficult. So that's why a lot of the times you'll see a lot of the African guys go to Belgium because there's like a quick nationalization and do it over like 3 years.
Oh, is that the strategy?
Yeah. So that's why you always used to see like Ibue and all these guys at Arsenal. They would all go to Belgium. Arsene Wenger would sign them. They'd loan them to Belgium 3 years, get them like citizenship, and then they'd jump over.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Because otherwise you take up like a international spot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah, they did it with all those guys.
Jeez. Okay, let's crack open another one.
Yeah. No, you guys take the lead this time.
Castro, I'll open up the last one. Go for it, my boy.
This is funny. Yeah.
Is that the Cape Town bit?
I think it's
I think most of these years are from Cape Town.
Okay.
This one is called. Is it Stellenbosch, Yonkers? Where did you get it?
at top screen.
So you played then you played in Durban, you played in KZN, and now you're in Western Cape. I believe you're married, correct?
Yeah.
You have 2 kids. So all of that moving around, like what's the conversation like? You know, like I mean, because I'd assume, okay, cool. You guys have built a life, you bought a house here, whatever. You settle in, okay, we're moving to KZN, okay, we're moving to Western Cape. Like, what was that conversation like with the wife?
Yeah, mate, at a stage I think we moved houses, so sometimes within the same province, but we moved houses like 7 times in 7 years.
Woo.
And conveniently, I was always had like an away game for the move day.
Kill 2 birds.
Yeah. She was always like, she's like, convenient. We playing while we have to move. So she became like a master packer. So
well, you were awful.
I think she mastered the art of packing. It was just like there was just like boxes, like the names were already on the boxes. It was just like bang, we're going done. Like it was like 7 houses in 7 years. So it was.
Jeez.
It's not like look, I haven't moved since. Okay, we had the kids when I was at Amazulu, and we moved to Cape Town, and I haven't moved since because I think I was fortunate. I had kids when I was later in my career, and I've only had to move once. And now that I have the family set up in Cape Town, like it's very difficult to think of moving.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's almost like that's also why I almost retired at the end of last year. It's like if the club never got promoted, like
wait, what?
Okay, well this is a whole nother conversation. So I mean, the idea that I didn't want to spend another year in the NFT, that was already like in my mind. I was like, okay, the NFT is like it's tough for us. Yeah, no, but I mean, I spent 3 years in the NFT, so like I enjoyed my time there, but it's tough. And I said to myself, I'm not doing another year in the NFT. And the reality is there's only Cape Town City and Stellenbosch if Cape Town Spurs were not going to get promoted. So I was like, with the young family and everything, I was like, look, I'm not going to move them again. So it's got to the point now where it's like, I don't want to move the family again. So I think like football can be quite a selfish journey when you're playing on your family, because you expect them just to move around and follow you. It's like, but like now with like females, sometimes like they can be better earners or whatever. It's like at some point it comes to the way I'm like, look, I need to prioritize other things. I can't just expect to like. Luckily, my wife's a school teacher, so wherever we've gone, she can just sort of like.
Yeah, it's quite easy.
Yeah, it's quite an easy job to just like move around or whatever. But it's not good. I mean, on a CV, they're like, well, why do you keep like every year? Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
He's a footballer.
Every year you go to another, like no one wants you. You keep leaving, but it's like, yeah, she's just moved for me. So it's quite selfish. So it's gotten to the point now where I don't want to move again, really. So I've got to make the most of where I am.
So rewind, right? You just dropped the bombshell.
Yeah.
Because I remember you on an interview on Talk Money or something like that.
Yeah.
And you said you gained inspiration from Brennan Ovete and Mabudi Kanyeza, right? In terms of how long you played. And your initial goal was to play until you did 8, did 9, right? So now after this bombshell, what changed?
Probably playing in the NFT. I was in the NFT for 3 years, and I went to playoffs with All Stars. So with Omoya, we probably should have won the league, but we had issues with COVID and everything. I don't know, it'd probably get cancelled if you mention that on your stream. So we probably should have. So I probably should have gone to playoffs the first year. Then the second year, the All Stars went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And interesting things happened. And then
that's one way of putting it.
And then at Spurs again, like we should have won the league, but then we got put to the post again. Interesting things happened. And so like I literally, after we didn't win the league and we went to playoffs, I went into the office. So like I said to the boss, I was like, look, just to be open here, like if we don't get promoted here, like I'm retiring. I can't do this anymore.
That must have been an awkward conversation.
Well, the thing is, I think they were also fed up. Like, I think Ajax, Spurs, whoever, like, if you've been to that facility before, if you've seen, like, the heritage of that club, like, you look around the place, like, these photos of Stephen Pienaar, Benny McCarthy, like...
Legends.
There's, like, 4 fields, AstroTurf, gym, like... It's not an NFT club.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as owners, you could see that they felt that as well. They didn't want to do another year in the NFT, like, you could... So I think they sympathized. I was like, look, I can't, like, especially getting so close, and then it felt like on the last day it slipped, and having to go to playoffs, and you never know what can happen in playoffs. So I said, like, if we don't do this, then but you know, we made it happen. So it meant another year, and we'll see.
So are we back to plan A then? It's safe to say.
Look, we haven't started very well. We haven't started well at all. So
That can change.
Look, but it needs to change quick. We haven't got a lot of time left, so we need to make some big moves now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to go back down to the NFT. Because that would have consequences of I don't know if I'll give it another year.
But let's say you stay up, right?
Yeah.
Do you have the legs and the engine room still to go another 3-4 years?
Yeah, man. Like physically,
especially playing in the one.
It's not about the fitness, it's about pace. But fitness-wise, like I still win the beep test every year. Like I'm still.
Wait, what's that? What's it?
It's like a running test. So you do like the beeps here, beeps 20 meters on the other side, and you just go backwards and forwards until everyone falls out.
Oh.
So it's like the best, like maybe stamina, not the best speed.
So like a time shorting. Basically, you have 10 minutes to complete this.
And after 10...
so then it just keeps... okay.
After like 10 doggies, then it gets quicker, and it's quicker, and then the guys just drop out one by one.
Yeah.
So like
And you're the last man standing.
Yeah, I often.
Yeah.
So like my stamina-wise and physically, like I touch wood with. But yeah, like I haven't had injuries, like muscular injuries and everything. I'm still training every single day and whatever. I could still go. It's the mental side of things now. It's like, getting up and that's why the NFT was tough because like, I mean, the NFT last season we went to Toyando 4 times.
Yeah. So wait, it's tough in what sense?
There's a lot of, like, there's the fact that nothing's televised.
Okay.
So that has other implications. Like, There's
on the pocket.
There's things happening there. You see things that you've never seen before in your life. Like, it's especially when like things start to get tight and results can work in certain directions. Like you start to see crazy things.
Desperation corner.
Yeah, it's like you'll. No, okay. No, times where you just like
you just flabbergasted.
They're just like, this is not real. What's happening here? Like it's actually, I look at getting promoted from the NFT as like one of my best achievements in my career.
Yeah,
that's how hard.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah, like especially out of Cape Town because like literally every away game you travel. So from So the Cape Town trip to Toyando that we did 4 times, like that trip, literally you leave at like 7 in the morning, first flight. You get to the hotel in Toyando like 9 in the evening. And
the whole day travel.
Yeah, and then NFT you only play 3 o'clock games. So you play in Toyando at 3 o'clock the next afternoon in like 35-degree heat.
The sun is here.
Burn. And the NFT, like it's just chaos. It's just running and crazy and you just run and run and run.
It sounds like it's the wild west.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's crazy, man. It's like,
you're trying to PSL. So
hey,
every day of growth, everyone's fighting for it.
No, that's it. So, speaking of, right, we're about to close, right? So, how would you like to be remembered as a footballer?
I like it when my teammates say that, like, I was a hardworking guy, like, a good teammate. Because I know myself that I was never the most gifted, the most talented or whatever, but I was always like, I was just a cog in the wheel. Like, I would carry the load for some guys. Like, man, like, that's the way
I don't think so, bro.
No, but like Roger Dessa always used to tell us, like, you have some guys that play the piano and you need guys that are going to carry the piano. Like, you can't have like 10 Teko Modises.
For sure.
You need some guys that are they're gonna do the work. Yeah. And I always consider myself as one. It's like when I was at Maritzburg, I played with like Dalron Buckley, and he always used to say to me, he's like, I'm the steering wheel, you the engine. So like, that was always like, I wanted to do the work, win the ball, and give it to the guys that had the ability to do something with the ball. So like, I was always felt like I just wanted to be a good team man.
Yeah.
So like, those are the memories I keep. Like, whether when your teammates value you, I think that's like the best feeling you can have as a footballer. Like when I feel like when you see these guys win like PFA, like Players of the Year, where everyone in the league that played against you votes for you, like that is the award that you want to win. Because that's like not just the media or fans or whatever. That's like the guys you're playing against, the guys you're playing with. When they rate you, then you know, like
that I'm clean.
Yeah, like so when you win that like Players Player of the Season, like that one hits hard. It's like that's like much respect. So that's like always for me was always just be a good guy, be a good teammate.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be that guy. So that's like I think maybe why I've captained so many of the teams or whatever, because I just wanted to be like another cog in the wheel.
Jeez. So like speaking of memories, right? We all have that one moment, even when you like in your office, right? You have that one moment where you think, my God, what a game I had. Which game was that? Where you were like pulling all the strings, and the following day you felt like king of earth. Which game was it?
That's a good question. Sure. There was a game, cup final against Orlando Pirates. We played them in Polokwane.
Okay.
And we were down 1-0 and we came back to win 3-1, I think. Rocky scored, Robler scored, and Boxall scored. And I won man of the match in that game as well. And that was probably, I don't know what that day we just
glided
yeah.
off the field.
No, the whole team was just but that was one of my favorite memories. I think I had a,
And then it wasn't in the field, in your team.
Dean and Yeye with me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what a dream.
Yeah, it's
What a dream.
Yeah, they wrote an article about that. I'll never forget this article. We laughed about it. I think they called it the White Onslaught.
Yeah.
So it was Brocky scored, Robler scored, Boxall scored, and it was it must have been the most white guys in the team.
Yeah.
So it was Dean, Furman, myself, Brocky, Robler, it was 5 of us.
Yeah.
And it was the journalists really wrote it. I was you can't write that. You can't say that. They were the articles are there. It's where did they come from? How did they run so fast? Speaking up these white guys, it was crazy. But it was a good memory. And we had the run on Pirates. We had met them in a couple of cup finals. And we did some damage. And so there were some good memories there.
And how good is Brocky? Because from TV you can see technically he's very neat. Like some of the volleys he scored, it's what?
Yeah, no, Brock's I'm still in touch with him. Technically he was unbelievable. The thing with him is that he would in general play he would disappear for you wouldn't see him for 10-20 minutes.
Yeah.
But then let that thing drop on his left foot or his right foot and the thing smash the thing in the top corner. And it'd be certain angles, you'd be you can't score from there, Brox, don't shoot. Bang, the top corner. But when he was he obviously went on to he had a massive run going.
Yeah.
And when he's on that in that momentum, you can't stop him from scoring. Guys knew what he would do. Everyone would be talking about it. He's gonna peel off his shoulder and then he's gonna arrive at the back post and score. Everyone knew it. They were look out for it.
Yeah.
And he'd do it. So you knew it was happening, but he would when he was hot, man. I thought he was gonna go to Sundowns and score 50 goals.
Yeah.
But obviously that didn't work out for him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I mean,
Thank you.
I personally lived through your career. I mean, I would have loved to live through it myself.
But unfortunately, from here if you want.
Definitely not. Castro, before we close, anything else?
Oh, no, I think I've really
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, and it's very insightful to actually hear your story and stuff. And man, I believe you have a podcast. You're content creator yourself. TikTok, Instagram.
I was just posting my stuff across all the socials. So.
Yeah. Now I follow this on your Instagram. So even when you asked you okay, who's the toughest people you faced and who's your top players basically, I was trying to see if it aligned with what you actually said. We'll check out.
But thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, bro. Thank you for having me, guys. There were some beautiful beers here, and we'll have to do some work on these when the podcast ends.
Oh, wait. Before we actually close it, right? There's other question I wanted to ask you. And I want to ask it because I have a couple of friends that also play rugby, right? And at the highest level. Springbok level, right? So...
You're not allowed to drop names, so it's not sure.
Should I drop his name? Please. Okay. So my good friend, he's a pure junkie. I don't think. Yeah. So he used to tell me stories when he was growing up and during varsity. I think it was called Varsity Cup or something like that. And he used to walk me through it and tell me everything that goes on behind the scenes, right? And my thing is, between rugby and soccer, there's a big difference. On the rugby side of things, they're more chilled about beer and alcohol and all of that. Whereas with soccer, you guys are almost treated like children. It's
I literally had this conversation today. It's actually No, I'm just speaking because like I obviously follow a lot of these guys on social media, so I was looking at like the Springboks in France, like, they obviously got all their families there. Like next thing I see them on the beach, they're in the water, like,
Exactly.
they treat them like professionals.
Exactly.
When footballers travel, like they put bouncers on the door at the hotel. It's like,
Are you serious?
yeah, for sure. Like there'll be like the curfew at this time, like there's bouncers on the door, like you can't leave the hotel, like.
Jeez, why do they treat you guys like children? And
But it's crazy because they'll be like, no, like you can't drink. There won't be beers at dinner or whatever. But then they know that the guy's like in their room. Like, yeah. It's like the same thing as they'll be like, there's no dessert, and they'll be like, no dessert. You know the guys have got sweets and chips in their room. It's like, who are we kidding here? It's like when I look at like the way they treat cricketers and rugby players compared to how they treat footballers. But it's almost like when you treat people like that, then they almost like adopt that mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, then I'll go around the corner and do it.
Yeah.
It's like, whereas if you just said, yeah, guys, here's a bunch of beers, like let's all sit around as a team, like you'd have that environment.
Exactly.
And then rugby has that, cricket has that, and it works.
Why not for soccer?
Yeah.
Who's the problem? Is it the officials? Is it the suits?
You know, the only time in my whole career where at club, and I'll never forget it, and because it meant so much to me, is like at Supersport when we went to play Pirates in Durban in the final.
Yeah.
They booked a hotel for our families.
Jeez.
They flew all our families down. So my wife was there. Like they came on the field afterwards. Supersport is the only club in my whole career that ever did that, where they actually like involved the families. Like at the end of season awards, they would have like a +1, like you bring your wife or whatever. Like, no other club I've ever been at has done that, where they'll like organise for the families to get involved. Like they booked them a separate hotel. Like. Was incredible, and like that meant so much to me because this was like so out of the norm of how they normally treat us.
Sure, for sure.
It's like, yeah, I mean, obviously we haven't painted ourselves in the best light because obviously footballers have a reputation, but I feel like it's like the chicken or the egg. Like if you treat a person like that, does he behave that way because you treated him like that, or like if you just made everything available and you said this is like these are the boundaries, stay within the boundaries,
and there's not going to be a policeman.
Yeah.
Your own police.
Yeah, if you step out of line, then sorry, you can't have these luxuries. But it's like, come on, Mark. Why can all the rest, like, you trust the rest of these professional athletes, but not footballers?
Yeah. And then speaking of, right, I just picked up something. So would you say that Supersport is your favorite club that you've ever played for? Outside of Cape Town? Because I mean, you know.
Probably the most enjoyable years of my career, just because of look at the way that club's run. It's probably the best run club I played for. So professional.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. No, so professional. We were very successful, obviously, that period of time. I won all the trophies besides the one I won at Wits was all won at Supersport. Over that course of 3 years, we dominated South African football in terms of club, in terms of cup competitions. We never won the league. So, yeah, that was the best memories, and yeah, playing under Baxter as well was, yeah, we were a powerhouse.
Awesome stuff. This has been Ball on Beers. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Morton, thank you again.
Guys, this was lovely, and we'll do it again soon.
For sure. Part 2 coming up. Yeah.